Well, hello there, everyone. My name is Krona. No, my name is not a reference to the Titan of Time. I'm here today joined by my lovely co-host, Mizuno.
Hi everyone, I'm Mizuno, and in the past couple of days, I have been stuck inside not one, not two, but three jet engines. Yes, that is correct. I'm dead
Jeez.
serious.
Jet engines or just airplanes?
Actual jet engines. So actual engines that are sitting underneath the wing of an airplane. I have been stuck in them for the past couple of days, and three different ones to be precise.
I keep forgetting you're a Purdue alum.
Yeah, it's not even related to Purdue, which is the funny part.
Oh, okay.
For work,
Anywho,
basically.
and overlap for this episode we're about to begin. This is our Week 4 recap episode, so we'll be discussing and going into a lot of the details regarding the Week 4 matches. We're also going to have the lovely opportunity to discuss Ink Raiders Bravo, a Division 5 team from middle uh, Middle Tennessee State University. This is their first CCA season, and they've made quite an impact so far. So it's going to be lovely to talk to their captain, AC Drift, and Squid Daddy later in this episode. We're then going to finish with a prolonged segment on playoff eligibility. That's right, we're starting to get into figuring out the teams that are going to make it to their division's playoffs. And that will also feature a lot of the pivotal matches that are upcoming in the next 2 weeks of league regular season. So there's quite a lot to talk about this episode. So without further ado, let's increase the counter and let's just jump right into it. So beginning with our Week 4 recap, a total of 52 matches were played this week, and only 5 of them actually ended on Clan Blitz Barnacle and Dime, which is a lot less than the previous weeks. Previous weeks have seen, I think, like 7 to 9 Game 7 matches. So it's a kind of a decline since then. Still, nonetheless, it's been a very competitive week with a lot of pivotal matches happening that have very much shaped their groups and the teams that will advance from them. So starting with Division 6, let's talk about CSUDH Ivory and DePaul Anarcho-Ciliism. So, if you were here last week, you remember that I did cover CSUDH Ivory with their discussion of them winning 4-2 over VCU Spirality, and how that's set them up quite well in Division 6 within striking range for playoffs. And I ended that segment talking about how this next match against DePaul was going to be very pivotal, as basically this would be their hardest pit of the schedule. Well, UHDH, you did not disappoint the slightest. You won over DePaul, winning 4-2, and you very much have your playoff spot within sight at this point. Additionally, Ivory is favored to win against the remaining teams in Division 6 Group 4, making sure that they more or less have a very easy path to the playoffs at this point. They have the key. They just cannot fumble it at the end. So we'll see if they can ensure it in the coming few weeks. Moving on to a team that we've talked a little bit, we've mentioned quite a lot here in Division 6. Sun Guide Squad has swept over Disciple of Cod in Week 4. This kind of prolongs this storyline of UCSD bouncing back from this really rough Week 1 they had against UGA Red. That being said, they have easily their toughest match of the season upcoming next week, with that being against the Table Turf, the current second runner in the group. We'll discuss more about this match later, but playoff stakes are very much on the line for both of those teams. So that has been Division 6. Mizuno, would you like to cover Division 5?
Let's run with it. And the key thing here is, again, the playoffs are in the horizon, and that goes for Div 5 as well. Let's kick it off with talking about Crimson Inc. sweeping 4-0 against Undertow Dartfish. And once again, another team that Krona has mentioned the previous week. Crimson Inc. out of the University of Utah is back with another dominant performance against Undertow Dartfish, sweeping them a clean 4-0. And again, this match could be very much be the playoff seeding match for this group Group 2 in Division 5. And it could also possibly deny Undertow Dartfish a potential playoff spot, depending on some of the rescheduled matches in this group. So a lot of high stakes here in Div 5, especially in Group 2. So going for the next 2 weeks for Week 5 and the reschedule week, keep an eye out for Group 2. Next up, we also have to mention Townsend Tigerfish, also sweeping in a clean 4-0 Villanova Splatoon. This team has kind of flown under the radar so far most of the season. And with Townsend from Townsend University up in the Northeast in Maryland, sweeping a clean 4-0 in Group 4. So another group to keep an eye on there. Note, Townsend has not dropped a single game so far, despite kind of being under the radar this season. So the Tigerfish is a pretty big fish here in Group 4, funnily enough. Exactly, right? Bigger fish in the sea. And they're going to be quite the challenge for any other Division 5 team to overcome them. And again, they have not dropped a single game in Group C. So they're putting out a really strong performance for their first season in the CCA League. And they're in the hunt for playoffs. So lots of playoff stakes still here in Division 5 Krona. And I'm assuming, let's talk about Dig 4. I'm assuming that's the same story going on here as well.
Yes, very much. But before I want to go to Division 4, I just want to say, once again, Division 5, you're such a joy to watch this season. It's been fantastic to watch all the developments over the last few weeks. And I'm very interested to see how things developed in the last weeks of the ring season. But like Mizuno said, let's talk about Division 4. One of the most, there's two very pivotal matches that happened in Division 4 this week. The first being PSU Nifty Lionfish's loss to VGA Black. PSU loses this very pivotal match against UGA Black, going 2-4. And this puts them in a bit of a terrible situation where they have to go against the frontrunner of their group, Vespa Enter Salmon, next week. And basically how this sits is that if PSU loses this match, they're very much they're not completely out of the running, but it puts them in a very difficult spot, having lost to both VGA last week and then potentially Vespa next week. As for VGA, they're looking pretty fine and dandy at this point, having a few matches left against some of the lower performing teams in their group, which they are more favored to win at this point. Still, nothing is kind of concrete. Nothing is concrete for both these teams, so there's still a lot to take away and learn from their situations. Another very interesting match that has occurred was C Sharp Major's 4-3 victory over Crimson Calamari. Being backed into a corner, C Sharp Major pulls through and clutches a Game 7 victory over Crimson Calamari. And this is a huge accomplishment for them, as C Sharp Major is now has extended their dream of Division 4 playoffs. How it currently stands is that C Sharp Major is now competing with VCU Gummies for that second spot in their group in Division 4, which no shock to anyone, is their match for Week 5. So this is a very high stake match for everyone involved. If C Sharp wins, they are guaranteed a spot to playoffs, and if Gummies wins, they are also guaranteed a spot to playoffs. So it's going to be a very exciting match to watch, and we also have the privilege of streaming it this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So please tune in to watch what is going to probably be one of the most pivotal and important matches in the Division 4 regular season. So now back to you, Mizuno, for Division 3.
Man, what a privilege to have these really crazy sets streamed, right? Krona, truly, it's incredible.
It's always a joy to watch.
Anyways, moving on to Division 3, climbing up the divisions here. Let's talk about the Golden Barracudas out of Kutztown University going 4-3 against Tiger Sharks. So again, the story of Game 7s here, keeping that going. Over in Group 3, Golden Barracudas takes the 7th game against Tiger Sharks out of Rochester Institute of Technology. And although we do have to call this out, unfortunately, both of these teams are mathematically locked out of the playoff contention at this point of the league, which is very unfortunate considering how much of a fight both of these teams have put going into a Game 7. But regardless, again, this match still deserves as a really strong decider for 3rd place in the group, which is nothing to sneeze at in the CCA League. Then, moving along here, we also have Titans of Alterna Orange taking down Red Beaks Platoon in a 4-2 matchup. And Titans of Alterna Orange, this is the second team from California. They have been a very dominant force in their group so far and are leading the pack in a clean 3-0, which is great. However, this lead is still tentative as they still have to play two teams directly behind them, basically on their trail. So essentially, Group 2 is sure to be a photo finish at the end of the day. Krona, how about we take a look at Div 2?
Yes, let's go right into it. It's been an absolute fantastic week for pivotal Division 2 matches, with two very, very important and pivotal Game 7 matches that have occurred. The first one I want to talk about is Nightfall and We Aquatic Little Creatures. In a shocking Game 7, Nightfall was able to take the win over We Aquatic Little Creatures from Purdue. Nightfall has been a sleeper pick here in Division 2 Group 4, having swept every team so far other than Coastal Squid Surf. Walk now finds himself in a very rough spot in this group, having their playoff hopes rest on Rowan's hands with their Week 5 match against Nightfall. Even still, Coastal Squid Surf, who has still yet to let a game drop in this group so far, is waiting for We Aquatic Little Creatures here in Week 5. So there is quite a lot on the line for that match. Also, fun fact, that match is supposed to be happening right as we speak here. So we might know the answer to We Aquatic Little Creatures playoff streams in the next 40 minutes or so. So a lot on the line here in Division 2 Group 4. Moving over to, I believe this is Group 2. Group 3, my apologies. We have California State University Long Beach Gold taking a Game 7 victory over Springfield, Ohio. God, in true California State Long Beach fashion, they win over Springfield, Ohio in yet another clutch Game 7 victory. For those of you who are new to the podcast, we've had the privilege of talking to California State Long Beach Gold members in the past. When they clutched their Game 7 victories over MSU Camp Juice and Husky Splatsfield Knights. And this is very much the match that we wanted to talk to them about, as it had such strong implications for everything that was happening both in their group and in Division 2 as a whole. So it's very exciting to see them able to take the win over Springfield, Ohio here. So this now actually confirms them for the Division 2 playoffs. So this is fantastic to see Long Beach doing well in their first official CCA season. As for Springfield, Ohio, they are facing Husky Splatfield Knights in Week 5 here, and that match will basically decide who comes in. So let's now move on to the cream of the crop, Division 1.
Division 1, baby, and this is where it's at. We're going to kick off the first match to review here with just pure history. These two teams have, again, history at the CCA is so long that, like, these teams are ancient. So whenever I see this matchup, I always go, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So, MSU Aries gets the clean 0-4 sweep against UCSD Esports Gold. This is a very important match, not to mention the historical references, but this is a very important match for two reasons. Point number one being that MSU is just still a terrifying, unstoppable force to be reckoned with here in Division 1. Not to mention, they are confirmed, locked in, sealed for the number 1 seed for Division 1 in Group 1. Congratulations, MSU. Then, on the other side of the coin here, UCSD Esports Gold. A lot of history here, a lot of playoff history. Their playoff history may continue, but it is completely in the hands of VCU Ink Black at this point. So, we have to stay tuned to their matches here, which we'll talk about later tonight. Now, moving on to the other side of the group. In Group 2, we have EA UCSD Banana Split versus Red Embers. Banana Split takes the 4-2 victory over Red Embers from Illinois State. So, EA UCSD Banana Split is actually confirmed to return to Division 1 playoffs this season with this victory over Red Embers. They will be sitting in the second seed for Group 2, with PSU Blue, unsurprisingly, by no one, being the number 1 seed in Group 2. So, Who will be the third, though? That's still an important decision because that's still a standout placement here in groups. Who would that be? We'll find out soon enough. So stay tuned again when we talk a little bit more about how Division 1 shakes up here later tonight.
Yes, there is a lot to talk about eligibility and the teams still on the hunt. So we have a lovely segment prepared for you but before we get there, let's talk about some Week 4 results and performance from one of these newer teams, that being Ink Raiders Bravo. So let's invite them onto the stage.
Come on up, shimmy over.
Let's talk a little bit about Ink Raiders Bravo. So Ink Raiders Bravo is from the Middle Tennessee State University, and this is a brand new university to the CCA this season. They had one team competing in Entry Exam 2. However, they found more players afterwards and able to split into two teams, that being Ink Raiders Alpha, which is in Division 2, and Ink Raiders Bravo, which is in Division 5. We're specifically talking with Ink Raiders Bravo tonight, and about their season, which has been an absolutely fantastic first season so far. So Ink Raiders Bravos are currently on track to have played the most games of any team in the regular season so far, having all three of their sets played so far go to Game 7s. And they're currently 2-1 in groups, having only lost to Villanova Splatoon in a Game 7. That being said, they bounced back from this Week 1 loss and have taken both Sporty Bobble Hat Gang and the Cosmonauts to Game 7 and have clutched the victory from both of those. So they're currently 2-1 in their group and are very much still in the hunt for playoffs. But the big obstacle that stands in the way is the two group front runners, which they still have yet to play. So it's going to be they're in a fantastic position for some lovely conversation. So without further ado, welcome Ink Raiders Bravo.
Very well. Glad to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So I covered a lot about your team from an outside CCA perspective, but obviously there's quite a lot more to y'all than just what I said. So could you feel free to introduce yourselves and discuss anything that you think I left out of your introduction?
Well, I'm basically Drift. I primarily main Tetris, but occasionally I play a 52 and C Junior as well. And yep, I kind of started the team because I wanted to try something new. So yeah, and here we are, two teams and just potential to be in playoffs. So this is exciting.
I'm Squid Daddy or Sergeant Cone, and I play the ends up, and I just kind of try to push up when I can and support my team from the back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. You've been doing a good job so far.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Well, good choice on the NZAP for sure. I can attest to that. I'm also a big fan of the NZAP, so shout out to you, Squid Daddy. Well, that being said, as Krona mentioned earlier, this is your first time that Middle Tennessee State University is participating in the CCA. This is also the first time I've discovered Middle Tennessee State as a school. So could you guys talk a little bit about how long has your Splatoon program been trying to get a team together and what that's been like?
About 2 months.
Wow,
it's really? It was literally at the start of the semester. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do something outside of the comfort zone and just start a team. And just I asked the president of the esports club here, and it's basically just hey, what would I need to start a Splatoon team? And basically it was well, you need a full team and a college league completed. So naturally, I just went on Google College Splatoon League, and you guys popped up on Reddit. So, and then I did research. Popped up with my old accounts, asking, "Hey, is a sign up still available?" And you guys said yes. So then the next part, I literally just went in just on the MGSU esports Discord page. Basically begging people. It's please, are you good, Splatoon? I need to start a team. Eventually, I got 4 people to agree, so that's all we needed. And yeah, the rest is history.
Fantastic.
Well, I was going to say, so the efforts have just been Reddit, Discord, and a little bit of begging.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Squid Daddy, did you see originally Drift's postings on Discord about all this? Were you one of the first ones to pop up?
Actually, at the esports meeting, I heard there was an interest, so I went up to him and asked him about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, they did you like ask at the meeting if there was Splatoon? Oh yeah. Basically, I just happened to be there, so I was like, "Yep, I'm the guy."
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic to hear a new program at a new university kind of being established, and to hear kind of some of the founding moments that you went through here. I'm very glad you were able to join us at such a great time. Had it been a few months later, we would have been in the middle league and unable for y'all to join. But that didn't happen. You were able to join right before our fall semester league, which is fantastic.
Yeah. He kind of came in close, like because there's those things like, hey, there's a lot of people coming in, so we might want to split it to two teams. And I think Lumi joined in like basically the day before sign up. Oh yeah, it was very close.
No worries at all. So kind of talking a little bit about your relationship with Splatoon, can you tell us a little bit about Ink Raider Bravo's competitive experience levels? Like how familiar are y'all with the competitive scene? Is this your first tournament?
Yeah, that's my first tournament.
Mine too.
And I believe it's on Bravo. I think most of the people who have tournament experience, well, I mean, there's a lot. Like this, I think FaZe also has tournament certain. I'm not 100% sure, but I know for a fact that our best player, Brendan, who's on Ingrid's Alpha, definitely has tournament experience. Which, funnily enough, he literally texted me while we were in the exam tournament. And, like, I mean, I had no idea who he was. Because he was like, I was like, work. I was like, all right, like, what's your top X power or something? Because I had people trying to join for like C rank. He was like 2,800. Welcome to the team.
Well, that's certainly a wide range of experiences with that. So talking a little bit more about Bravo's experience, this being your first tournament and your first forte into competitive, how would you say, how rough has the transition been from, normal Splatoon modes such as like Anarchy and X Battle been to more tournament play? Have you had any difficulties with it?
I mean, I think at the start, like, communication was definitely something like we didn't work on. But I think we have gotten a lot better, like, as time went on.
Nice. Yeah, that's glad to hear. Solo queue is a very different beast than tournament play, as you're not just by yourself. So communications is often a struggling point for many people to start. But I'm glad to hear that you all have started to address it, and to become a better team overall.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's great to hear. Well, I guess let's spin a little bit of things more CCA related. And one thing that I think a lot of people forget about the CCA is that you guys are all college students as well in this league. You're all attending the same school, the same university, and you're all in it together. I'm sure this league has taken up a lot of your time. And how much time commitment has you and the rest of your teammates, how much time have you guys put in participating as a team and practicing each week?
Well, we definitely try to practice as much as I can. Certainly, most of my free time has been anytime it would either be A, play Splatoon, or B, mess around with friends and playing a Democracy one in Persona 5, which has been interesting. But yeah, definitely mostly if I have free time, I record VODs for each of our matchups, and I especially look at how everyone's doing, and mostly communication, of course, because I do record our Discord audio as much as we can, and I like to try to give out pointers as much as I can.
That's a good way to look at it, getting constant feedback going. And VOD review is very important, I think, in developing collegiate teams. I know from experience. So that's very good that you guys picked up on that. That's awesome. Well, I guess a little bit more about your time commitment. Again, you guys are college students. How do both of you guys can talk about your own experiences. How do you balance Splatoon commitments with other aspects of your college life? So, social, academic, professional, etc., those types of aspects.
Well, I mean, definitely, scheduling has been, a little tricky at times, but, I feel like I'm doing a decent job, trying to keep everything together. I think definitely it's gotten much easier now that like I have like certain times like when people are available, and it's like nice to like it's kind of get everything written down. Like okay, it's like the teammates like available at these times. Okay, like and I can ask the other team captains like, so what time works best for you? What?
Yeah, he's been like asking everybody what their schedule is, and then I haven't written one yet because I don't really have like a set schedule because my work it's kind of complicated. But every time it's like something I can do, he asks me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm free from this day. Let's say Saturday from like 4 to 10, and then in that time frame, we'll try and find something that we can do in practice.
That's good. Constant communication here is so important. Again, you guys are all living crazy hectic lives, and I totally understand how that can interfere with the playtime and trying to get that time together. So that's really important to continue to do.
Yeah, and also just having a few extra hands on the team, a sub or two, is great for having some flexibility with schedules as well.
Yeah.
So, moving a little bit more on to your season 4 performance so far, you've had 3 back-to-back matches that have gone to Game 7s, and these matches have been quite back and forths, with there usually being like a 1 or 2 point difference between you and the other teams. That being said, you've come out victorious these last 2 times. So how do you handle the stress and nerves that occur during these pivotal games in these matches?
Well, it's definitely interesting. Like, think like for game 2, like we, our week 3 matchup against the Cephalopod have a game. Shout out to them. They played great, but definitely having I think when we were like that, it was 3-2. Like, Louis kind of said like at chats like it's like, hey, like we got this.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, then overtold it's over, and definitely having definitely like I thought our match was gonna end at game 6 until we ended up getting the very last minute clam push going. And then having Mako zones, which as a Tetra being stuck with Reef Slider, I know my cheese very well, and I exploited that very well. I think for our week 4 matchup against the Cosmonauts, also a shout out to them. They played really well at the end. I even feel like we could have either swept or ended it in game 5. Because we struggled a little bit towards the end. We were literally saved by Judd by the overtime clock ending. Like the clan was right there in the basket, and honestly, if there was a millisecond later, this could have been a completely different story.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I just think positive reinforcement and just let's say we're in game 7, we're all just kind of trying to calm each other down, keep our just stay locked in and try to focus on the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great mindset to have. Keeping everyone on the same page and make sure no one's tilting and such is a really crucial aspect and plays into the team aspect of the game as well. I also like your response as you're kind of talking about some of the differences between your 3 game 7 sets so far, and I wanted to dive a little bit more into that. Again, repeating some of the history, your week 1 match against Vermilion's platoon was the 1 game 7 you've lost this season. And you've gone on to play both your next 2 sets, having won your game 7s. So I wanted to ask, what lessons and skills you think you kind of took away from that first game 7 loss against Vermilion that you learned and applied to your remaining season?
Well, first off, Humpback Rainmaker sucks. Let's say that. Second, communication was definitely one thing we worked on. And I think because definitely having better map control overall is definitely some weird, been causing stressing for every match. But I think it's definitely good. It was our first match. I'm going to say happy. Our very first match together. We actually went to game 7, which honestly is incredible.
Yeah.
Shout out to Villanova's platoon. They did really well. There were a few times he got a little greedy, but I think overall we both played really well, and yeah, they definitely earned that win.
Yeah, no. Speaking from someone whose first matches were a little bit dicey there at the start of my own Splatoon career, there's a lot you learn from those first few ones. And the more you progress, the more you try at it, the more you go to scrims, you play against tougher opponents and such, the more you learned. And it's fantastic to see that you learned from this and have grown to become a more stronger team with some of your more recent matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
It takes time. Well, that being said, season 4 is slowly coming to a close, but there's still a lot more work to do. We have classified you guys as a team that is in the hunt for a playoff spot, if you will. Meaning that in order for Ink Raiders Bravo to make the Division 5 playoffs here, you're going to have a couple things go right for you. And those matches being up ahead, Townsend Tigerfish and the High Rollers. And with such pivotal matches here on the horizon, is there anything that you guys have been doing differently or working on to prepare for those matches?
I mean, I have been thinking about it's like I've been looking through the week, rest of the week results for a lot of these teams. Just thinking, okay, what are they running, and and how and it's what can we improve on? I think for I mean, they're running if you see I'm a toucher main myself, so I mean, if light touches weren't given sprinkler, I think maybe or at least any bomb, it'd be great. But I digress. But definitely, I think is all right. What can we good to fight against them? Just with our strengths, for all our weapons. And I think definitely our primary focus is the high rollers, since when we're in. That's essentially. Even if we lose to Townsend, high rollers, if we get the win, we have a tiebreaker, and we basically just clutch our first playoffs.
Cool. Knowing the rules, I like that.
Yes. A lot still on the line and a lot of stakes that are happening. Kind of taking a step back, how far do you think you will end up this season? Do you think you'll make it to playoffs, or do you think you could be wearing that Division 5 crown right there at the end?
I think we actually do have a decent shot at getting in the playoffs. Championship, that would be a dream.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're looking at some of the other Div 5 teams, it's going to be definitely a tall order because of how much of a bloodbath this whole division's been. But even if we get third, I'll be extremely happy. I mean, just getting to the playoffs on our first year alone is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we said so far, going from not having a team at all in the last 3 months ago to being in the hunt for playoffs still is a fantastic accomplishment. Regardless how the next 2 weeks pan out, and regardless of how playoffs go for y'all, it is a fantastic accomplishment. Accomplishment. Sorry. For y'all to be here now, and it speaks a lot to the future of your program there at Middle Tennessee State University. So hopefully you'll still participate in our events further to come after season 4, and we look forward to seeing the growth that occurs.
Oh yeah. I think definitely. I definitely have been working to try to grow our program further. I have been communicating with a lot of the esports basically leaders. We finally got one lab switch to have with copy Splatoon 3, and definitely grinding that account has been taking a lot longer than I expected. Even with Varsity's help with their endless supply of group EXP tickets, it's been taking a long time. But hopefully we'll get motion controlled controllers, because I can't do sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic to hear the scene developing there at Middle State Tennessee University. So, wrapping up, is there anywhere specific we can find you? Any Twitch or Twitter you can plug?
I don't use very many social medias. I mostly primarily use Reddit and Discord. Yes, I guess if you all look up my Reddit account, it would be a Red Ninja 03. If you are on the Splatoon subreddit, my header is Tetris for life. So if you see that like in one of the comments, like that's me.
What about you, Squid Daddy? Anything you'd like to plug?
I guess the only really thing I'm on is my Instagram. It's just _Blackson_. So
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, I do know one place where you can find both of you, and that will be on CCA Splatoon at 10 p.m. EST this Saturday, as we will be streaming your match against the High Rollers. So we are very excited to be able to cover this pivotal match.
I mean, definitely prime time, baby. But I mean, it's like win or go home. Can't write a better script.
yeah.
No kidding.
Indeed. So thank you so much for joining us for this interview.
Yeah, it was our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
So
All right.
being less than 2 weeks here remaining here in the regular season, a lot has started to take shape regarding teams that are moving on to playoffs. And we want to take some time here to start highlighting the scenarios that have occurred in each specific group across all the divisions to say both the teams that are confirmed, the teams that are very likely to go to playoffs, and the teams that are still in that hunt that need just a few more things to go right. But before we do that, I do want to start with the disclaimer that there is a chance that some of these smaller details in this segment may be a tiny bit wrong. There's quite a lot of complication here, and these calculations were done fairly quickly without checks for validity. So it's entirely possible that something that we did or assumption that we made might be wrong. So we just want to make sure that what we're saying here is not fact, it's not law by any stretch of the word, and that most of this is supposed to be taken not as official CCA confirmation or anything of that nature. This is simply just speculation and further discussion points. So yes, additionally, I do want to mention, Kara would bother me if I didn't mention this, that the tournament rankings are not finalized until we say they are. As you know, tiebreakers are quite complicated and lead to some dicey situations, and not all of that can be properly displayed on tournament. So we just want to say that before you go off celebrating in confirmation that that third tiebreaker causes your team to get into playoffs, just make sure that you have the official announcement from us at the end of reschedule week to make sure that your team has officially made it to playoffs.
And there he goes, folks. I guess the point to be emphasized here is wait until there's confirmation officially from the CCA staff. We'll make it crystal clear as day, that in fact your team is locked in and you'll be starting off that Monday after reschedule week ready to go. So hang tight. And this segment is just pure fun speculation, as they do often ESPN sports, as they try to scheme up what the strategy looks like for heading off into playoffs. So
Indeed.
That being said, let's take a look at Division 6. And this is going to be, to start off, relatively straightforward as per our calculations. But again, disclaimer here, it's not fully confirmed until we announce it fully. So, starting off in Group 1, we are currently looking at buy one, get one free, and Splatoon Gold, sitting at 4-0. And oh my gosh, well, guess what? They have to play each other, and they'll be playing each other in a playoff seeding match for Group 1. So, that will determine what's going to be happening there with seeding. Very interesting stuff there. Over in Group 2, we'll be looking at UJA Red, which is currently sitting as the front runner of Group 2, sitting at a clean 4-0 and confirmed for playoffs. And the second spot, the second seed for Group 2, is currently a toss-up right now between Sun God Squad or the Table Turp Troop. And this will be decided in this Week 5 matchup here. So, a little bit waiting here for Group 2, so hang tight. Then, over in Group 3, it's also relatively straightforward, similar to Group 1, as the Group 3 playoff teams are already confirmed to be the U of A, Axion Splatters, and the Grisco Gators, each sitting at a clean 3-0. And funnily enough, these teams will be playing against each other for playoff seeding for this Week 5 matchup. really good stuff. And you guys get to watch this match too. It is currently set to be streamed at 9 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. So again, be sure to have that Twitch link ready to go. Then finally over in Group 4, this is actually a really interesting situation because none of these teams are currently confirmed yet. However, we do have CSUDH Ivory, which is very, 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 very likely, given their current standing in the group, to slide right into the playoff spot. And then, as for the other end of it, VCU Spirality and DPU Anarcho-Ciliism are both sitting at 2-1 right now, and they will be duking it out for a potential last spot there to make playoffs here in Week 5. So, Krona, there's a lot going on in Division 6 alone. There's still a little bit of diciness for some of these seeds. How's it looking over in Div 5?
Yeah, no, Division 5, everything is still kind of up in the air here. As I previously talked about Group 1 a few episodes ago, things are still very, very complicated and can very much easily result in many tiebreaker scenarios when these teams are going for the playoff spots. Currently in Group 1, we see that Champlain, Splatoon, Syrian, OU Academy B, and the High Riders are all sitting at 3-1 records in their group. With the matches that are left, it looks like Champagne, Splatoon, Syrian is more likely to make a playoff spot than these other two teams, while OU Academy B and High Riders will have to play each other for what will likely be the other spots. That being said, there is so much complication, and there is potentially many circles of sucks still involved in this group, so we can't say for certain what will occur. So definitely keep your eye on Division 5 Group 1 in the following weeks. As for Division 2, we have Undertow Dartfish and Crimson Ink in the lead, being 3-1 and 3-0 respectively. So these two are very likely for playoffs. That being said, both Clark, Koi, and Shrug Splatoon are still technically in the running, having many of their matches being rescheduled. So there's still possible that they can make it, but a lot needs to go right for both of these teams for them to sneak their way into the Division 5 playoffs. As for Division 3, it's the Bull Sharks are confirmed for the playoffs, being 3-0 in their group and having taken their wins against the other two powerhouses in the group. The only reason that I believe they couldn't make would be a division-wide circle of suck, which might happen, but is unlikely. So hopefully we get to see them play Division 5 playoffs. As for the other spot in that group, this means that the UNM Splatoon versus Plata match will decide who goes in the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line there. Both those teams are currently 3-1. It's going to be a fantastic match to end out the season for both these teams. And finally, as we currently have talked a little bit about in Group 4, we have the High Rollers and the Towson Tigerfish leading with 3-1 and a 3-0 record respectfully. That being said, the Ink Raiders Bravo, who are currently 2-1, still have to face both of these opponents. So there's still room for them to swoop in and steal one of the playoff spots from these teams. So a lot is still up in the air in Division 5, and like I said, it's going to be wonderful to watch and see what occurs. So, as I said, the Ink Raiders Bravos match against High Rollers will be streamed this week at 10 p.m. EST on Saturday. So please tune in if you want to see any of the Division 5 developments.
Man, that's awesome. And also, weird update. I think I'm commentating that match if I saw the stream schedule correctly. So definitely be sure to tune into that one. Anyways, let's shimmy on over to Division 4. The group number 1 here in Division 4 has already been tentatively decided. So in the early Week 5 match, we had Splatlanders actually taking a win over Nautical, leading them to be 4-0 in groups. Nautical has now finished their season as well, going 4-1, and will also make the playoffs. So, great job, teams. That being said, over in Group 2, we have Vespa and Enter Salmon is pretty much all but confirmed, leading 4-0 in this group at the moment. And however, the second slot is a lot more decisive, with PSU Nittany Lionfish and UGA Black as possible contenders for this slot. And if the Nittany Lionfish out of PSU wants to play in the playoffs this season, they actually need to get a win against Vepsa Enter Salmon here week 5. So that is a really exciting matchup here for PSU Nittany Ninefish to get this W in order to sneak into the playoffs. Then over in Group 3, UCSD Esports Navy is confirmed as they are sitting 4-0 in their group right now, and they have beaten all the teams that are currently fighting for that second slot for playoffs. Good stuff there. And then for that second slot that I just mentioned, we have VCU Goomies versus C Sharp Major, which will determine which of those two teams will actually move on to Division 4 playoffs. And call out here, this match will also be streamed on CCA on 8 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. So we're going to keep calling these out here, folks. I'm sure you're picking them up. Last but not least, over in Group 4 for Division 4, both of the playoff teams have been decided, with the Seminole Cephalopods Garnet and Grizz Taco both sitting undefeated. And this means subsequently that their Week 5 match against each other will be for playoff seeding. Really exciting stuff there. Now, back to back here, folks. I'm going to roll right into Division 3. Over in Group 1, we pretty much have a really cool photo finish going on with GMU Patriots, DPU Inkstu, Chark Attack, and PSU Lone Rock Sirens for these teams here in Group 1. And the best news we can give you guys is that we have 2 Week 5 matches here with these subsets of teams, with the GMU Patriots versus DPU Inkstu, and then we have PSU Lone Rock Sirens versus Chark Attack. And with so much on the line for these teams fighting for these 2 playoff slots and all the strange complications that are going on in this group right now, we honestly cannot statistically and mathematically draw any clear conclusions as to which teams could potentially move on. So a very, very interesting Group 1 for sure here, Division 3. This one will be a true photo finish to keep an eye on for the last 2 weeks here. Then moving on over to Group 2, we have Titans of Alterna leading the pack as they sit on their 3-0 right now and first in this group. However, this is a big asterisk right now. They have yet to face the next 2 teams literally in the running, with Creamed Corn out of Nebraska and the Comet Combo Meal. So with that being said, we cannot fully speculate since we have the Titans Alterna versus Creamed Corn match, as well as the Creamed Corn match versus Comet Combo Meal still needing to be played here over the next 2 weeks. So we might have another photo finish, 2 photo finishes, right, happening next to each other. Then over in Group 3 for Division 3, it's not going to be a photo finish on the other hand, as both of the playoff teams are locked in. We have Death Roll and Griffink representing Group 3 right now in that respective order for your Group 3 playoff teams in Group 3. They played each other in Week 4, actually, funnily enough, where Death Roll won out against Griffin 4-1, taking that first seed. Good stuff there. Last but not least, rounding it up with Group 4 here for Div 3. There are technically 4 teams that are still in the running here for this group. We gotta talk about WPI. I'm not going to pronounce that university name there, Krona. You're not going to make me. The Grisco Workers Union leads the pack of this group, sitting at a clean 3-0. And right behind them on their tails is the Bobblehat Gang, 2-2, with Volatile Radiance and Stevens in Executioners right on their heels, with still several unfinished matches to be played. With WPI, let me rephrase this. With Grisco Workers Union versus Volatile Radiance needing to be played, as well as Bobblehat Gang versus Stevens in Executioners, there is a lot to be happened, and we're going to have to kind of sit around for a bit because both of these matches are actually currently sitting in the rescheduled week. So we're going to be kind of quivering a bit in anticipation for the Group 4 seedings to be shaken out here, Krona.
Yeah, I mean, Division 3, very much the word... the terminology there is just photo finish, with only one of those groups actually already being decided. Very excited to see what comes out of the other 3 groups there that's still yet to be decided. So let's move on to Division 2. In contrary to Division 3, Division 2 Group 1 is very much already somewhat decided, making it easy for us with both Vermilion Tides and H-Town Rebels leading the pack with 3-0 records respectfully. Both these teams are confirmed for playoffs, but the thing that's still up for debate is who gets what seed, as their Week 4 match was rescheduled for later in the season. So that is a very important match to seed who will be taking that first seed in the group and who will have to fight tougher opponents in the first week of playoffs. As for Division 2 Group 2, for those of you who were here last week, do you remember when I ended up talking like 5 to 10 minutes on the complexity of Division 5 Group 1 and how it was easily the most complicated group in the season? Yeah, I'm going to have to retract that statement because Division 2 Group 2 has just erupted into absolute absurdity. And I feel like that is basically stated by the fact that only one team has been confirmed to not be an eligible team for playoffs at this moment. That being the KSU Wild Sharks, who are currently 0-3. That being said, literally every other team in this group is still eligible, including California Rollers, who are currently 1-1. That's right. Going into Week 5, they've played 2 matches so far. And fun fact that we found out earlier in the night, their Week 5 match was also rescheduled. So this is a little bit like Thunderbolt's case from last season, unfortunately.
Oh.
So, to talk a little bit more context about the teams that are in this group, we have Carter Inc. Sada Fries leading this group 3-1, with IVC Diamond Rays following at 2-1. Then we have both OU Academy A and UCSD Blue behind them both with 2-2 each. So there's still a lot of these teams in this 2-3 win victory range that puts them in striking distance for playoffs. But what makes this complicated is this 4-team circle of suck that's arisen, which goes by IVC losing to Carnegie Sadas, who lost to EAUCD Blue, who then lost to OU Academy A, who then lost to IVC Diamond Rays. So not as complicated as the one from last season, Division 2 Group B, but a complicated beast nonetheless. There's just so much to dissect here. And again, with California Rollers having only played 2 matches, and if I remember correctly, one of those matches was against UCSD Blue, which they won. There's just so much thrown into chaos here, and so much that cannot be speculated or decided in the slightest. Literally any result from this group is important to watch because of how it cuts down these possibilities of teams. Yeah, so as for the pivotal matches, again, all matches are pivotal at this point, but the ones that are really, really crucial is Carnegie Sada Fries versus California Rollers, IVC Diamond Rays versus UCSD Blue, and then California Rollers versus IVC Diamond Rays. There's just so much still in the question. It's going to be a great group to watch in these final 2 weeks of the regular season. And I am 100% sure that I will be discussing part of this group next week when something else happens, because it's just so thrilling to watch. So let's move on to a more simpler group, thank God, with Group 3, with California State University Long Beach Gold is confirmed for playoffs. As previously discussed, they had their Week 4 victory over Springfield, Ohio, which has confirmed them for playoffs. Springfield, Ohio, and Husky Splattsville Knights are the two likely candidates for that second playoff spot, having to face each other here in Week 5. So some good stuff from Division 2. Let's now talk about Group 3. Then let's talk about Group 4. So Coastal Squid Surf currently leads the pack here at 3-0. But they still have yet to play their match against We Aquatic Little Creatures and MSU, but are very likely to make the playoffs. As for the second seed going in, Nightfall is currently in the lead, sitting at 3-1, and winning against Rowland here would confirm their spot in the playoffs. We Aquatic Little Creatures is still in the race, but needs to win over CSS and has to have Rowland beat Nightfall. That being said, let me just go over to league results and check. Oh, would you look at that? Coastal Squid Surf has won 4-2 over We Aquatic Little Creatures. And this confirms the 2 playoff teams from Division 2 Group 4. This, while still having 2 matches left to play, a match left to play. CSS has confirmed the first seed for this group, and Nightfall is confirmed to be the second seed in this group. So unfortunately for Purdue, they will not be in the playoffs. Sorry, Mizuno.
I mean, that's okay because, I mean, what a story for Coastal Squid Surf, you know? I mean, this is a sense of righteous justiceness from Riptide!
Yes.
For the Riptide history between CSS and Purdue. Oh, I love it. Congratulations, Coastal Squid Surf. Well deserved. Really good stuff. That is awesome. Well, Krona, you just walked through an elaborate, maze there of Division 2. My goodness. Let's talk a little bit about Division 1 here. We got some things lined up for you guys as we prepare the screen share.
Yep, it's up. We're good.
Oh,
There we go.
all right, folks. We prepared a little something special for you guys. We get to talk a little bit about these fun scenarios with a cute little presentation here. So let's talk about Group 1 here. We have MSU Aries secured at the #1 seed over at the 4-0 record. And the only one that hasn't played with Night Sharks. So all good there. 5 matches have yet to be played in Group 1, 2 which that will have some major impact on the playoff race. We got to talk about these, and this is why we have this presentation here. We have 2 key matchups with VCU Ink Black versus Old Bay Brigade, and then VCU Ink Black again versus the Night Sharks. And one thing to note here, Wormwind out of Drexel University can actually eliminate Old Bay Brigade or UCSD by securing wins versus one of them. And basically, we have this complicated graph here to show you guys basically who wins or who goes home for all 3 of these teams with just these 2 games. So, essentially, UCSD is going to be a very big fan of VCU over the next 2 weeks. So, as you can see from this lovely graphic here, in the green is highlighting the VCU versus Old Bay Brigade matchup. And then horizontally in the orange, we have VCU versus the Night Sharks. So let's talk about vertically. If VCU wins against both of their matches, that's where you'll see that first plot point there. UCSD will actually take second and VCU will slide into third, that's tough. Nonetheless, if Old Bay Brigade takes 1 win from VCU, but VCU still clutches out against the Night Sharks, UCSD will still take second, but Old Bay Brigade will take VCU's spot for third finish. Then, if we take a look here, we have if the Night Sharks wins, and VCU wins, the Night Sharks actually slide into second with UCSD actually getting knocked out from playoff contention. And again, if the Night Sharks win, but Old Bay Brigade wins, Old Bay Brigade takes over from that Night Sharks lock, and the Night Sharks get bumped out of playoffs. So this is a very rocky and dicey situation that even gets my tongue and my brain on all sorts of twists. It's the twists and turns. And it's very difficult to sort this out. So shout out to our staff to putting this all together and presenting this in hopefully as clear of a way as we possibly could, considering the mathematics, the imaginary mathematics, I'll say, that goes behind all this stuff.
Yes.
Carla, why don't you walk us through Group 2 as I try to get my brain sorted out from these?
Yes. Oh, lovely, complicated mess here. You have to explain. But I'm sure Group 2 isn't as bad. Wait, what the hell is this? Group 2 is surely something. What's been confirmed so far is that PSU Blue will have the first seed, and as I talked about earlier, Banana Split will have that second seed. That being said, the third seed is still up for to grabs between Red Embers, Reef Unleashed Gold, and Reef Runners. So what we staff have done is we've shown all the possible scenarios for the pivotal 4 matches that have to occur for Group 2 to finish out, and mapped every single option from winning and to winning individual games at a point too. So there's a lot of information here. Let me kind of talk about it and summarize it a little bit more. Red Embers has the most options to secure this last spot, with roughly about 50% of these possible scenarios ending in their favor for getting that third spot. Reef Unleashed Gold then has the second most options with about 35% of these spots ending in their favor. And then Reef Runners has to really, really struggle to get in with their 2-3 record, and they need to make the use of tiebreakers to get into this third spot for playoffs, with about 15% of these spots remaining here that would end in their favor for playoffs. Unfortunately, Comet Blasters are out of the running for playoffs at this moment, as the best they can finish high is 4th. So there's a lot going on here. And ending, here you can see there's just a 4-way tie at some point. So there's just a lot going on here. But obviously, at the end of the day, the easiest way to get into the playoffs is just to continue to win your games and win them fast. Sweep over your opponents, drop one game if you have to. But the best way to avoid these tiebreaker scenarios is to make sure they don't happen in the slightest. It's again going to be a very interesting finish here for Division 1 Group 2, and a lot of these developments are still yet to occur over the next few weeks. So thank you to all of the CCA staff here that's helped us put together these graphics. For Group 1, I believe it was Snow, and then for Group 2, it was DRF and Kraken. So thank you for taking your time to try to make sense of this complicated jumble of teams.
What's really interesting, Krona, I just did a quick count just now. Out of the 20 situations here, Red Embers has 14 out of those situations, if I counted that correctly, while Reef Unleashed has 10 of those situations. And then Reef Runners able to squeeze in a few of those there, which is very interesting. I think just looking at that outlook here, right, the way that our wonderful staff has put this together, you could kind of see which team, based on the color, is more likely to squeeze into 3rd versus 4th. I don't know. Yes. I just thought that's pretty cool to call out there.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. It's wonderful to be put together, and it makes my data science heart jump with joy to see such elegance in displaying. But yeah, so again, there's a lot of these pivotal matches to look out for, and it's going to be a photo finish for this 3rd place slot. So it could be wonderful to see, because these 3rd place team, the 1st and 2nd place teams from Division 1 do have to play a Week 1 playoffs match, with both MSU Aries and PSU Blue having secured their first slot, having a bye week due to the nature of our playoff single elimination bracket. So it'll be fantastic to see. Our Week 5 streams have been publicly announced, I believe, an hour ago. That includes 8 p.m. EST Friday night, where we'll have a Division 3 match between Golden Barracudas and the Siberian Squids. This will then be followed by a Division 6 match. A Division 6 match, that being the Sun God Squad versus Table Chirp Troop, where the winner of that match will go to playoffs. So very high stakes match to finish the night off on Friday. For Saturday, the only confirmed match we have so far is a 10 p.m. EST High Rollers versus Ink Raiders Bravo match from Division 5. I believe we have extended the deadline for Saturday night matches, so if your team is looking to play your match that night, feel free to still submit your stream requests, and we'll see if we can support it with our schedule. As for Sunday night, we end with 2 impactful matches, that being Division 4 C Sharp Major versus the Goomies at 8 p.m. Eastern, where the winner will get to go to Division 4 playoffs. And 9 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the Division 6 U of A Axon Splatters versus Grisco Gators, which, as you mentioned earlier, is being played for playoff seeding. As for the podcast, we're currently trying to schedule episode 5 for next Thursday at 8 p.m. EST. So we will have more. We'll have a full confirmation of that earlier next week. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight, Mizuno. Where can the good people find you?
Folks, y'all can find me on Twitter and Twitch at MIZU_N0, but you can most likely find me here over on the CCA Splatoon Twitch channel. Krona, where can the good folks find you as well?
You can find me on Twitter at comrade_Corona. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next time. See ya.
Bye. Bye.